Okay, guys, this is the story of how I found out my husband of 6 months was having an affair and building a whole life with someone right behind my back and then eventually right in front of my face. Me and my ex were together for about 5 years, then got engaged and married, and were married for 6 months. We started dating in 2018. We got our first dog in 2019. We started living together in probably 2020. Got our second dog and then bought our house in November of 2022, and he proposed our move-in date. Got married December 2023. And now we're here, June 15th, 2024. 15th, 2024, woke up just like any old day. The sky was blue, the grass was green, and we were going to Nashville, Tennessee to go golfing with a couple friend that we have. When we get done with all of that, and me and my ex are heading home, of course, he's drunk from golf, and just like any other wife, it's annoying. It's annoying to take care of your partner, your spouse, when they're hammered, and all you want to do is just get home and rest and make dinner and go to sleep. We get home, and he goes out to get us dinner, and comes back, we're eating it, and he goes out back with the dogs, and I felt like he was out there for a really long time, and I just thought maybe they were outside playing, and I thought to myself, let me go out there and see what they're doing. I wanted to go play too. I go out there, and he's on FaceTime, and as soon as I go outside, he immediately hangs up and gets off the phone. I asked, who was that? And he was like, someone named Rick, I think that's what he said, that we were playing golf with today. I'm like, you weren't playing golf with a Rick. Come on now. If you know, you know. I snatch his phone, and I go into the number that he was FaceTiming, and they had started sharing locations. And I'm like, why are you and Rick sharing locations? He was like, so we could see where we were at the golf course. I'm like, well, his location is in Bowling Green, and he lives in Nashville. So I just automatically knew something wasn't adding up. And so I decided to text the number off his phone and say, what's up? This person decides to send back a picture of her legs, and it said, same place you left us. I immediately called this number off his phone multiple times. She answered, and she said that they were just best friends from high school, and they were checking in, and I asked why she sent that picture. Long story short, the phone call was just talking about how there's nothing going on and they're just best friends from high school. I asked him what this is, and he said she's back in town and it just started today. And then I go back to his deleted messages, and they had already been texting for 2 weeks, and they actually went to Chewy's together. Whenever I thought he was going to a goodbye lunch for one of his coworkers that just got laid off. And he even got me food to go that day. So looking back, I'm like, you were on a date and you were getting your wife food to go, and this person knew it. Anyways, he even bought all the food off our joint credit card, so that's cool. Saw all those messages, and there were messages like, how's married life? And there was one message where she was FaceTiming him and he couldn't answer, and he goes, I can't answer, you know, I'm still a husband sometimes, haha. And yeah, I went through all of those and probably woke up the entire neighborhood yelling and screaming, yelling and screaming. We just got married, I'm your wife, what are you doing? That night we go to bed, wake up the next day, and it's Father's Day, and I'm just not in a place mentally to go in front of family or just be around anybody, so he goes there and I stay back. The next day is Monday, and he decides to wake up at 6 a.m. to go play 13 hours of golf. Around 6 p.m., I'm getting a call that I need to come pick him up. He's at a mutual friend's house. While I'm there, our mutual friend told me that he spilled the beans and got really drunk and said that the girl that he's been messaging and texting came to his parents' house for Father's Day. We get him in the car, I take us home, go inside, charge his phone. They had been texting all day. He was saying, I wish you were at the golf course. They were sending videos back to each other. I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm crying, but I'm so in denial. I'm like, there's no way our marriage is ending. There's no way he's leaving me for this little fling. The next day, I went to go drop him off at his car that was at our mutual friend's house, and he said that he needed to just have a day to himself. He told me he was going to his mom's house, and we have each other's locations. So when he was at his mom's house, I went to lunch with a friend. He calls me and he goes, hey, I see you're at so-and-so, like just making sure you're eating lunch, like you staying there for a while? And I'm like, yeah, we'll be here for a while. And she thought that was really suspicious. She's like, we need to go to your mom's immediately. We go there, he's not there, but his phone is. His phone is there so his location matches that he's at his mom's. We wait in the driveway until he gets back, and we do. And I confront him, and then I head back home because I had to go back to work. He gets home a few hours later and says that he officially ended things with her and it won't be happening again. Next day, I signed us up for marriage counseling with our pastor, but we couldn't get in until July 10th. At this point, it's probably June 20th. So moving forward, the rest of the month of June was awful. I was constantly checking his phone, constantly checking his deleted messages, constantly checking his location. During this time, he was cooking dinner, he was buying me flowers, he was doing things to make me believe that they had stopped what they were doing. Probably July 2nd at this point, and it's the morning of when we're supposed to leave to head to vacation with his family. His family's already there, so we were leaving that day after work. He was in the shower, this was around 7:30, and my gut was telling me just to check his phone. I hadn't checked it in a while. I was trying to trust him, and as soon as I checked it, there was a message from her, and it was obviously her responding to a ongoing conversation. He gets out of the shower and I show him the messages. My heart's beating so fast. And at this point, he's confessing that he wants a divorce and he no longer wants this marriage. I call his mom crying, saying I won't be going to Florida. There's just no way I can go. And I pack my bags and head back home to my hometown while he's in Florida. Before he leaves for Florida, he goes to hang out with her for about 3 hours, as I have his location, and he knew I could see what he was doing. So at this point, he didn't care to get caught. The morning that he's heading home from Florida and I'm heading back from my hometown, I noticed that he turns off his location. So I knew right then and there he wants to go see her when he gets back from Florida. So I call him, begging and pleading for him to turn his location back on and to come and see me immediately. Thankfully he does, and he comes home, talk and sit on the couch for probably 2 hours figuring out what to do. Talked, we cried, we hugged, we made up, and we decided that we were gonna make this work. Our marriage counseling session was just in a few days, and honestly I was just doing whatever it took to hold us together until marriage counseling. I'll finish the next part in part 2. Welcome to part 2 of how I found out my husband of 6 months was having an affair. So at this point, he had come back from Florida and we decided that we were going to work on our marriage, and he was done talking to her for good this time. He told me that before he left for Florida, when he went to see her, she wrote him a love note and how much she loved him and how much she wanted to be with him. And when he told me that, I knew our marriage was over, because he has a very addictive personality. He gets extremely addicted and obsessed with something, and he doesn't stop until he gets it. But we said we were going to work on our marriage, so there was about 2 days till our first marriage counseling session. I met him at his work to bring him some lunch, and he told me that he was conducting interviews all day and may not be on his phone. And I was like, oh, good luck. And he was asking me for some tips on interview questions. And looking back, he was just telling me that so he can go see her and leave his phone at work. And if I called and he didn't answer, it's because he was doing interviews. But in that moment, I believed him. He comes home from work that day and told me that he wrote her a letter ending things and wanting to work on our marriage. I got into his phone so I could go to his photos and read the letter, and because he had typed it, printed it out, and took screenshots of it, and I read the letter, and it was probably a good 7-paragraph letter of him saying how much fun he's had, how much fun their dates have been, how he's going to miss her so much, and this has been the best time of his life, and then a little sentence of, but he needs to work it out with his wife. So that night I'm cooking us dinner. I went through his phone and she had texted him and asked why he called her that morning. She said she's been sleeping all day and hasn't really been on her phone since she got the letter from him. And when I saw that, he had flipped a switch and said that he wants a divorce and he wants to be with her. And I'm like, our marriage counseling session's tomorrow. He's like, I'll go, but after that, I'm done. It's finally July 10th, our marriage counseling session. We go, and this is with our pastor, and our pastor is basically trying to knock some sense into him for 2 hours, and he was giving just really good wisdom and just doing everything he can to help. We leave that marriage counseling session and just hoping and praying that this session got through to him. At this point, I wanted to save our marriage more so due to my image. I was embarrassed and ashamed to be divorced just 6 months after our amazing wedding. So much love was poured into it. Didn't want to let go of our little family, our dogs, our brand new home. I was truly blind as to what was really going on in front of me. That's the best way to describe it. The next morning, everything seems fine. We wake up and go to work, and we are saying how much we love each other, and he is texting me all day saying that he wants to make this work again. Another flipped switch. And that our pastor's message really got to him and he wants to see this through, but he just needs some space. He goes, I feel like we've done so much talking. I just want to hang out with my buddy tonight, and I need some space. He comes home from work that day to pack a little bag to go to his buddies. And at this point, we are still sharing locations. He comes home and says, if you dare track my location tonight, this is over. This is far from over. Don't you dare show up where I'm at like you did last time. I'm like, I'm not going to. I was being very calm. He's like, you know what? I'm going to turn off my location right now. I'm like, please don't. Like, I'm not going to come. I promise. I was keeping calm so I could see his location because I knew exactly where he was going. He shows up to his location and it's her home, and I'm out to eat with friends, and I notice that he's there, and my heart all night is just broken. I come home and he calls me while he's there to say goodnight. He was still putting on this act that he was there, and I was acting like I believed him. I slept in our home for the first night by myself since we moved in, and it was just a reality check that my life will never be the same, and that my husband is truly cheating on me right in front of my face and doesn't care. So the next morning, it's a work day. He comes home and immediately sits down and says it's over. I tell him I knew where you were last night, and he admits he was there, and that he wants a life with her, and he's not going to any more counseling sessions, that he's going to text our counselor and end the sessions. My mom eventually comes down for about 3 days just to be there for me, but ultimately we decided it was best to just get out of the house and go back home and be with family and friends. I load up me and my dogs and go back home. He asked me when I was coming back to the house, and I told him I wasn't sure. And so he decided to have a little sleepover with her here and stay the night at our house. We have a Ring camera and a camera in the house, and the inside camera was covered with a blanket. And at this point, there was nothing I can do, so I just let it happen. And I think I let it happen because I needed to see how far he's willing to go, so it can help me move on it quicker in the end. Go to part 3 to hear about what happened during their sleepover. I finally come back home the next day after their sleepover, and I come in and notice that there are dog bowls here that aren't mine, that there's beer bottles everywhere. I turned the TV on and they were playing a playlist called Over When It's Over that they made, and her jeans and socks all over my bed. I check our bank account and they spent $100 at our nearest Mexican restaurant that night as well on our joint credit card. I hadn't yet brought up to him I knew about the sleepover just because I was trying to navigate it in the best way possible. At this point, his clothes are all still here. Everything is still here. And it just felt... Days and weeks go by and he'll randomly call me drunk telling me that he's already brought her around his grandparents and how they love her so much, and apparently I was a BITCH, and she's already forming a great connection with his mother, and he's telling me they're going to Target together, and I'm just mortified because people are starting to see them out in public, and people are starting to text his mom, and just people around town were finding out, and I was just so mortified. Looking back, this was not a good decision on my end, but there were times where he would come back over and we would hang out and talk. My heart was just broken, and you know, as girls, we run back to what's hurting us. I just missed my husband. I couldn't believe what was happening, and I just wanted to feel loved by him. It's now the very end of July, and I get a phone call that my dad needs open heart surgery. I decided to call my ex, letting him know that your father-in-law needs open heart surgery and is in the hospital, and I'm going home immediately to be with my family and him at the hospital. Is there any way you could maybe watch the dogs or help out or just be there for me? He told me that he can't be there for me. He can't watch the dogs. He has a new girlfriend and a family to support, and he can no longer be involved with me and my life and my family. It was in that moment when I knew this was over. Whenever he told me he couldn't be there for me and his father-in-law and his family during this crazy time, I knew that my husband is long gone. He is giving his energy to another girl, and I can't sit back and watch this any longer. My dad has a successful open heart surgery, and I was at home for about a week or so. I finally come back, and one of my best friends comes here to help me pack up all his stuff and throw it on the front porch. He comes to get his stuff, and a few weeks later he comes to get his mower, and he finally files for divorce. Me and my family ultimately thought it was best if he filed because he's the one that wants out of his life. He needs to file, and it needs to be an agreed divorce. So we agreed on everything, thankfully. It was a very easy divorce. I had the most amazing lawyer. We signed papers in October, and I think it was finalized early November. I had been in counseling, my own counseling at this point since July, and me and my therapist made the decision for me to stay in the house that we bought and make it my own, and I could afford it, so that's what I've been doing, and I've made it mine, and I love it so much. It's in a really good location. It's perfect for me and the dogs, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I've made so much growth, even just being here, and the best part is when I do sell it, it all goes to me. Of course, my ex reached out a couple months later, calling me saying that he wishes he listened to our therapist, and he wants to come see me and the dogs, take them for a walk. Obviously that never happened. To this day, they're still together, living in his mom's basement, and I'm just out here doing me. Looking back, I can't believe I survived. It took a lot to get where I am today, and I probably left out a bunch of details because there were a bunch of details that can't be shared, but that's the basis of the story. And I've leaned on God, I've leaned on family, I've leaned on friends. They've all helped me in a tremendous way, and am becoming the best version of myself. And I do hope to get married and have kids one day. And I know this divorce and my ex was a part of my journey and my story. It happened for a reason, and I get to help other girls going through similar situations. I know that moving forward, karma does its thing. I have my dogs. I bought a new car. I got a raise at work. You know, all things just started happening, all for the good. And I know that God comes through for me, and he has. And yeah, So that's the story, and I know this was somewhat long, but it deserves to be shared and deserves to be heard. And yeah, thanks for listening. So, from my knowledge, they are still together. And like I mentioned in my part 3 video, they are living in his mom and stepdad's basement. They have been living there since probably August or September. I'm not sure, but I know it's probably been 7+ months that they've been living there. Early on in the divorce, there were talks about his mom buying a house for him, and obviously she would move in. So it was very hard to hear things like that, how so many behaviors were being enabled and his family was just letting it happen. Obviously, I'm not a mother, but seeing his mom just allowing him to move back in, knowing that what he's doing to his wife was just odd to see, and it's something that I struggled with for a really long time. I had a lot of comments about her going to his parents for Father's Day. So what I was told was she was living down the street from his parents, and she drove up on Father's Day because they were having a pool day, and went in the backyard and said hey to everybody, including his parents, and she was probably there for a good 5 to 10 minutes, so he said. My mother-in-law or father-in-law did not let me know that she was there. I had to find out from a mutual friend. I do know that my mother-in-law and father-in-law were not happy with it. They were not supporting it whatsoever, but they did not let me know. I have not seen them in over a year since this all happened. I am very aware I gave this man so many chances. Trust me. Like, I gave him more chances than he should have. And it's honestly because I just couldn't believe it. I was in denial. We had just gotten married. Like, the ink was barely dried on our wedding certificate. While this was going on, I was planning our 1-year anniversary trip to Europe before I found out about the affair. But I had so many hopes and dreams for us, and there were talks about trying for a baby. Thank God I did not get pregnant. But I was just holding on to all of those plans that we had, and I didn't want to believe it. I thought maybe this was a tiny bump in the road. You know, we had already been together for 5.5 years, and this doesn't defend or anything that he did. What he did was not okay. But I thought maybe he was just seeking validation from an old friend, and there was just something missing. So that's why I suggested the marriage counseling. Whether that was going to save our marriage or not, I needed a third party because I couldn't do this alone. And I needed advice from a third party. Honestly, just needed some major advice and for someone to shake the living crap out of him. Obviously, it didn't work, and I'm so thankful it didn't. I'm so thankful we are no longer together. But yeah, that's ultimately the reason why I did give him so many chances. I wanted to just get on here and just take a second to thank everybody for their kind messages and sweet comments. These past couple of days have been pretty crazy, and I just feel so thankful for having. The whole point of sharing my story is to hopefully help other girls out there going through the same thing. I know a year ago when I was going through my divorce, and when I got on TikTok, when I would see girls share their stories, it really just gave me hope. It let me know that I'm not alone. And so that's exactly why I wanted to post my story. It's been a year since this all happened, and it hasn't been easy. You have to put in the work, and there's been some really high highs and some really low lows. One day you're on top of the world and you're hopeful for your future. The next, you're down on yourself, feeling insecure, more lonely than ever. I would be doing a disservice without coming on here and telling everyone that the only way I got through this is God and his help. I leaned on God heavily every single day, and I had to, and I'm so thankful that I had a church and a therapist and family and friends that were there for me and supporting me and listening to me every single day. But I know at the end of the day, God prepares a path for me, and that's exactly what he's doing, and one day it'll all be made just. And I'm just so thankful that he's been with me every step of the way, and that is truly the only way I've been able to get through this actual living nightmare. You know, throughout this year, I have been on dates, I have dated, I've done a lot of stuff, I've traveled, and I know it only goes up from here. So again, thank you guys so much for all your supportive messages. And I am so good, guys. I have moved on and healed as best as I could for now, you know, with it being a year later. And, you know, I'm just getting groceries right now. I still live my normal life. I wake up, go to work, hang out with friends, get on the dating apps from time to time. I've been on dates. I'm still hopeful for a future husband and kids one day, but for right now, I'm enjoying my singleness and this season of life. So yeah, I'm super good, and I do wish them well. They are meant to be. I want them to be happy, which it looks like they are, so that's so good. They're well off, guys, and so am I. And yeah, that's it. I want to kind of wrap up this series with a question like this that I got. So when they were in high school, he told me that she did not want to date him. They just flirted and hung out in the same friend group, and she never wanted to date him like that. And then he went to college here, she went to college elsewhere, then me and him shortly dated afterwards, and then we date, and she goes far away, 12 plus hours away. We get married, and 6 months after, she comes back, and they've been glued together ever since. He told me that he can't miss this opportunity to be with her, can't pass up this chance. He told me that verbatim when we were going through our divorce. So that's why he never proposed to her. That's why he proposed to me, because she wasn't here. I was shocked at how many people didn't know how to go back on someone's deleted messages. So ladies, listen up. My mutual friend, well, she's not a mutual anymore. She's just one of my friends now, one of my best friends, taught me this trick when she was married, and thank God I knew about it. So you're going to go to your messages, and you're going to click filters right there. And it's going to take you to this, and you're going to click recently deleted. And then you'll see all recently deleted, and you can recover them. Yeah, so they actually were in high school together. As he would put it, they had a trauma bond. Whenever he was in college, his little sister passed away back in 2013, and she was there for him and there for his family. And so moving forward, that's just the thing he would always say was, she knows him emotionally more than me and anybody else will ever know him. And that's just a connection that they both share that they just can't let go of. So because of that, because they shared grief together, blah, 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 not even his wife will trump that, because I wasn't there to experience that with him. He always said I never experienced grief like that, so therefore I wouldn't be a good mother. I don't have the adversity or whatever to go through life, because I haven't experienced losing a loved one like that. And she has, and because she was there for him during that time, just makes her a better partner for him overall. There's Stormy and Bean. Bean! I got both dogs because he couldn't care less. He told me that he actually never really wanted golden doodles to begin with. He wanted a dog more like him, someone from the Humane Society or blah, blah, blah. So now I think he has a little mutt. He already has a new dog. Let's just say that. They both do. They have dogs together. But yeah, I got to keep our babies, my babies now. The house is mine. It's in my name. I got everything in the divorce, so when this house sells, it all goes to me. Yeah, couldn't have asked for a better divorce, and if there's one good thing that came out of this and him, it's that he was willing to make it agreed. Comments like this are absolutely wild to me. We were married. We said vows, and I know cheating is never condoned. It is, you are allowed to get divorced when committed adultery. In the beginning, when I caught all of this, what I was seeing was only texting and emotional cheating before it got really severe. Like I said, I thought my husband was just, his high school crush is back in town. I thought maybe he just wanted an ego boost. You know how men are. And that's still not okay. Like, I don't want a husband like that, period. When you enter in a marriage and a covenant and you say I do in front of God and all your family and friends, when you are faced with something like this, absolutely you want to be strong and tough and give up and leave your man and say you can do better and all this and that. But, he was my best friend. Like, watching your best friend, the love of your life, the man that you thought you were growing old with, do this, it's just a shock and in denial. And honestly, it didn't smack me in the face until probably 2 months in. So you guys are absolutely drilling me in the comments for going to my pastor for our marriage counseling. So let me just clear some things up. So our pastor is a really good friend to us, and he is not the one that was going to be doing our session. So it was kind of just someone to get our foot in the door. He offers free marital counseling, but also includes an actual licensed therapist. So when we went, he talked for about 2 hours just to figure out what was going on and resources to help. And of course, he gave his wisdom and knowledge and a lot of biblical stuff that really I thought was really great advice, straight out of love to help and guide us. He wanted to put us on a 12-month plan with an actual licensed therapist that they have at the church. It's all free. It's funded by the church, which was amazing. And he's also been recommended by my friend who was in marital counseling with him. He's got tons of recommendations. It wasn't just a pastor that I was going to. It's someone that I know very well. And he was putting us on a 12-month plan with an actual licensed therapist, which obviously my ex did not want to do all that. Whenever he signed us up for that, it was going to be us meeting her and him occasionally, but it was mainly just meeting her. But since that didn't work, she actually became my licensed therapist, and I saw her for about 10 months or so, and it really changed everything for me. So, but yeah, just to clear that up on why we chose our pastor for the marital counseling.